But it took a while, like even being clean.
You're a different man.
Oh yeah, of course I am. But I'm saying, but it took a long time.
Right. Oh,
I mean, it was a long. It wasn't this quick. I
remember being into hardcore in the 80s, and just there were so many. I guess out of sort of like the hippie idealism, and for my generation, I think I'm a little younger than you, but not much. There was this sort of antisocial backlash that came sort of out of punk rock and then into hardcore, and I know that you were sort of part of that, sort of not. And a lot of the behavior you describe in the book is sort of about that ethic. There was that backlash ethic, and a lot of people in punk were very, it was really what people believed. And I look back now, I'm 44 now, and I look back at all my friends that were in that space, so to speak, and everyone's so different now, but yet they still have that little bit of them that still wants to take everything apart.
Yeah, but once I'll tell you a funny story, because I still get driven sometimes, right? So I've got two daughters. I've got an 11-year-old and a 22-year-old, or 23, around there. So anyway, so my 23-year-old, she was real anti-police, anti-government. It's like, okay, great. And her friends are running around yelling anarchy or whatever they're doing, right? So I'm driving. I've got her in the car, and I've got my little daughter in the car when she's a baby.
Right.
And I'm trying to get back home, and I'm late, and I'm speeding. Right. And I get red lighted, right? But I just think, hey, I'm a mile from home. He can wait. It's like, follow me home, dude. I got to get the kids home, right? So I just keep going. I don't stop, because now I'm driven. I got it in my head, I'm going home, right? And so he's red lighting me.
Right.
And I keep going. And now my little anarchist daughter is sitting shotgun. She's looking at me like, Dad, that's the police. I go, I don't care. Follow us home, right? So now my kids just realized, hey, her little burning flag business, now she's just actually hooked up with a real revolutionary who is actually kind of swinging out with this cop. So he chases me all the way home, and he's hitting the on me the whole deal.
Pulling the right.
And when he gets home, and my daughter's freaking, because she's probably about 14 at the time, so she's freaking out, right? And I get home, and he comes up to the window. He's on a cycle. He comes up to the window. I go, hey, I think I got a tail light out, champ. Why don't you go get that? You're doing a great job. I go, listen, get your sister, get her in the house. Like, I'm just like, pin. So then after the kids go in, I'm battling this guy in the street. Like, thank God he didn't call backup on me for resisting, man.
Right.
I mean, we're arguing, going on, and so at this time I've been clean for 14 years.
Right.
This is 14 years clean, right? Yeah. So I walk in the house, and I'm still mad, still whatever, and then I wake up. Like a little after that, I wake up, and I'm thinking, oh, my God.
Wow.
Man, I'm going to have to make amends to this dude. I was completely out of control. It was like an out-of-body experience. So promptly making amends means 2 weeks later, right? So
in court.
So I'm walking down the bike path, because it was a mile from the house. I lived down by the beach, right? And I'm walking down the bike path, and I see the dude on his motorcycle.
Right.
So I tell my ex, I go, oh, there he is, man. I'm going in. Right. And I go, yeah, that's the dude. I'm going in. So I go in to start walking up to this guy, and he stands up his bike, and he puts one hand on his holster. He goes, all right, that's close enough. Because he sees me, and he thinks I'm coming back for round 2, right? And I say, look, man. I go, look, it's not like that. I go, I just want to say I'm sorry. I'm a total ass. You didn't deserve that. You're just doing your job, man. You didn't deserve to be talked to like that and treated like that. And I just want to tell you how sorry, for what I did to you. And I start to walk away. He goes, hey, wait a minute, man. He goes, wait a minute. And he's crying. He's got like a tear in his eye. He's all misty. Yeah. He goes, hey, that's the first time in 20 years anybody's ever made amends, ever said sorry to me. He didn't say amends. He said, first time anyone's ever apologized to me on the job. So
you still got the ticket, though, right?
Well, I didn't even. It was. I did.
You just paid it.
I'm not gonna say, hey, now. Yeah, right. I paid it, but it's like, hey, now I said I'm sorry. Can you take this off now, brother?
Right. It's like when you make an amends to a girl.
That's a great story. That's a powerful story.
Yeah, but it was cool. But my kids saw both sides, because they see happy like you see.
Right.
And they've heard stories, but they think not the same guy. No, come on, my old man wouldn't burn anything
But it
down.
scares you more now. I mean, it scares me more when certain times when you do act out in certain ways, and you're like, oh my God, you're like, wow, I thought I had really that.
Right.
It's very different.
But in some ways, I think I'm more dangerous now sober, because when you act now like that, your mind's clear. It's not.
Right.
it's like, hey, this,
There's no excuse.
Yeah, it's like you're wide awake.
Yeah.
You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the hardest thing getting sober young, and I always say getting sober young is because you make so many more mistakes getting sober young than you're young. In my 20s, I was a baby, and I was sober in my 20s, so the same mistakes people make in their 20s sober, regular people make, I made sober and conscious.
Right. But mistakes don't mean get loaded of them.
Right.
See, I go to these guys all the time. They say, if I get in another fight, I'm going to get loaded. I say, no. I'm not advocating fighting. I'm saying, but if you don't equate the two. Just if you do get in a fight, it doesn't mean you got to get loaded behind it. If you do this bad behavior, it doesn't mean that you're going to get loaded over it. You know what I mean? They equate mistakes, and if I had to go through this, and if I was homeless, I'd have to,
I've spoken to people about this. I think sometimes the hardest thing to recover from is the life. I think people have a hard time getting sober. When they get sober, they're like, who am I now? Who am I? Who am I? It's like, what am I supposed to be? I was 22, and it's like all my friends are out there drinking or in school or doing something, and I'm like in the middle of an AA meeting in Brooklyn with people that are like 60 years older than me going, what have I become? What am I?
Well, you've got to get it. That's identity.
Identity
crisis.
And I had and that people don't talk about a lot.
Hey, well, I'm a hypnotist also, right? That's how I got into hypnosis.
Right.
Because after getting sober, I got clean, and now I'm supposed to get back on stage and be this guy. But I'd been getting on stage with a fifth of booze and what I've been drinking and doing blow all night.
Right.
And then I pop up on stage and this. So now you want me to get on stage, nothing. And it's like, I tell you, I felt like I was walking out of a store without buying something. My butt got all tight. It's like I didn't know what to do with my hands. I'm just standing there. And I went to a hypnotist to get me to loosen up.
We actually have a call. Why don't we take a call?
You always sound so surprised. But
Probably
yes,
not.
we do.
No, it's actually... Hi, is this Dougie?
This is.
Hey, welcome to KLEAN Radio.
Thanks, Jack.
Hi.
You got a question for Jack, or?
I think Jack's amazing.
Thank you.
Jack has helped me out a lot.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much.
Do you know Jack personally, or?
Yeah, I do. I do, actually.
Sounds like it's getting ready to be a crank call,
Yeah.
right?
No, seriously, Jack, I went with you one time to Las Vegas and the Phoenix and to San Diego. I was riding along with Mike Roach.
Oh, that's right. Hey, John, what's going on, man?
You're like a very legit now. You're like, please God, let this be the last 22 years, not.
Oh, it's good to see. Yeah, that's nice. You never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know. It's like, hey,
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
It's hit or miss in your
he's
call
solid.
from the past.
Right.
He's solid.
Is it the book call, or is
Jack, this is your life, Dougie.
No, he's solid. He's great. Yeah, that's a whole different story.
You got something you want to share with us, Dougie, or?
Yeah, I lost the bet, and that's why I had to call in, so.
Where'd you guys go?
Well, we had a nice trip. Sandy went to. We really even discussed. Come on, this is a family show.
I'm guessing it's deja vu. Something with that title was in the trip.
Yeah, it's family show. We're having family show.
It was an interesting story. Like, if you're ever looking for a strip joint in any city, all you have to ever ask somebody is there deja vu around here?
Oh, yeah, probably not. I don't go into those places.
Neither do I, but I've heard that deja vu is a very popular name.
I was unaware that they existed until you just mentioned it, but
Because it wouldn't be sober.
yeah. The sad thing is, you roll in. I think I went once or twice, and then I realized that these women really don't like me. It just wasn't. That was the last time I ever went.
All right, Dougie. Well, thanks for calling in.
Bye, Doc.
Yeah, we'll let you off very easily. Sorry you lost the bet.
Sorry, you lost. Yeah, right. That is
Doug's
when-
solid, though. He's nice. I like him.
That is still. Do you get still terrified when somebody when you meet somebody and they go, "Oh, you Jack."
Well, you want to, it's like I get half and half. Like, you'll get guys that have ran into me and they'll go, "Oh, what are you talking about? That guy's the nicest guy."
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, because you never did anything that deserved meanness. Do you know what I mean, or whatever? And then you'll get somebody else to go, I can't believe you even talked to that guy. So I never know if somebody's going to come up and say, hey, remember this, or remember this. Like, there's this guy that was trying to come over to the house the other day because I had stabbed him a long time ago. It was an accidental stabbing. It was I mean, it really was. It's like he was I was fooling around with a knife. And so I was slashing, just fooling around. You get a knife out of the thing, and then you just wave it around at people, fool around a little bit. So,
My wife does this to me, but
but this guy happened to be frying at the time.
Right.
So he's trying to get me. Right. He's going, I'm going to get you, big man. I'm going to get you. And he starts trying to bear hug me, but I'm poking with a knife. And so he grabbed, I poked, and it went through his arm and out the other side and was stuck in his arm, right? So So the guy still, years later, he's still wandering around going, look, check it out. Look at my arm, and he holds his arm up.
Badge of honor.
Yeah. So I just got that the other day because a guy came to a book study I run, and he goes, hey, I just want to let you know I ran into so-and-so. He goes, get Jack tell you about when he ran me through in the arm.
Oh, my goodness.
So sometimes you get those, and sometimes you get... But after being clean for 22 years... The majority of what I get is, hey, thanks. You really helped me out when I was new. You made it easy to come in. It was comfortable. It was fun. Seeing you here laughing made it fun.
Do you get a lot of people to look up to you?
Not that I would let them do that,
right.
But no. But just, I think the one thing...
It's funny, your girlfriend's waving your head up and down. Yes. Yes.
But no, but...
I was out with Keith from Black Flag the other day.
Yeah.
And, it was so funny because I'm sitting there with Bob Forrest and Keith. And we're sitting there and just having this conversation, just boring conversation. In fact, we were discussing Rush, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, I can't believe it.
Right? Because Bob can't stop talking about Rush and Barbra Streisand. I'm going to out him on the radio right now. Anyway, so he's trying to put up this big case for Rush and Barbra Streisand. And then this little kid, he's not a kid, he's like a 25-year-old, I guess, comes up. And he comes up to Keith and he's like, oh, Circle Jerks and Black Flag, so amazing. It's so amazing to meet you. And Keith's just like, yeah. I worked at a taco hut. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? It was just like...
The most I get now is like a lot of, because in group or whatever, I never even mention what I do.
Right.
Never even talk about it. I give talks all over the country or whatever, and never even mention what I did for a job. It's like, because there's no sense.
That's true,
in
because
it.
I've heard you speak, and I never heard you ever. I've never. A few years ago, I'd never heard you say you were in a band. That was what does that guy do? He's a funny speaker, very funny speaker. And but I never heard. I hate when people do that when they're speaking at 12-step meetings and they go around the subject, so the whole time you're hearing them, you're wondering, what do they do?
Right.
And I just say right away off the bat, if you're going to say I'm in the entertainment business, like, I better not find out later you do craft services.
There's a lot of those guys.
Because that happened to me at a meeting in West Palm Beach. I was 18 years old, and this guy, this guy is speaking, and he goes, I'm a professional athlete. The whole meeting, all I could do is think, what does he do? Is he a baseball player?
Yeah.
I walk up to him after, I go, what do you do? And he goes, I'm a professional polo player. I go, that doesn't count. I was like, you just made me sit.
Well, I mean, a lot of times giving a talk, it doesn't matter what I did.
Right.
It matters what I thought of you guys when I came in. Because when it come right down to it, everyone right there is right in their first bit of dealing with us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or dealing with whatever the people in the meeting. So I just like to start with that. It's like, hey, when I walked in, here's what I thought of you.
Right.
And you see most of the new guys in there sitting there going, yeah, me too.
Well, that's what I used to love about Scott Redman.
Yeah, I love Scott.
I love Scott Redman.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he would always share about how the newcomer felt in the room. With everybody going, "It's a miracle," And he's like, "Miracle," just like the being new. When you're new, people don't realize when you're new in a 12-step meeting, your mind feels like it's going to explode. When you're hearing these keep coming back or it's just, anything they say really, it's
crazy. Yeah, a lot of craziness.
We got a great comic coming in a little bit. His name is Mack Lindsay,
and the number here is 877
877-830-830. It's 877-8830-830. If you've lost a bet like Judah and Dougie have tonight and need to make a phone call, give us a call.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back on KLEAN Radio.